What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots, and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns, 5 Netflix movies based on true stories. Number 5. The Netflix original movie Veronica was released in August of 2017 and was an immediate success. Though what many people don't realize is that the film is actually based on a true story, involving a girl named Veronica, who passed away after playing with a Ouija board. According to the girl's parents, when she was a teen, she developed a fascination with the afterlife and other strangely dark topics. She's even known to have led a seance at her school on one occasion, attempting to contact a friend's deceased boyfriend. Following this ritual, the girl's friends and family began to notice that her behaviors had changed, and she even began to suffer from seizures and hallucinations. Her family says that she began being easily agitated and would constantly complain of menacing shadows that would walk down the hallway. Just a few months later, with no explanation at all, Veronica then passed away. Doctors were never able to determine the cause of her untimely passing, and afterward her parents insisted that she had passed away somehow because of that Ouija board seance, though this could obviously not be proven. Additionally, for months after her passing, her family members complained of doors slamming, electrical appliances turning on and off, as well as disembodied whispers. As soon as they moved houses, all of this stopped and never resurfaced. Number 4. The Saratov Project is a 2013 film based on the true story of 2 Mormon missionaries who were kidnapped in Russia. In March of 1998, Andrew Probst and Travis Tuttle were kidnapped and held for ransom in a South Russian town, where they'd met up to spread the Mormon religion. They'd met up at an unknown man's home who told them that he wished to hear more about the Mormon faith and invited them over to chat. Upon their arrival and entry into the man's home, their lives were changed forever. The men were hit over the head with a metal baton, bound, tied, and gagged and kept as captives. The story made international headlines, with the anonymous kidnapper then releasing to media outlets that he would return the men safely if a $300,000 ransom was handed over. Over the next 5 days, the men were kept in the basement of his home, fed only scraps once or twice a day, and remained bound so tightly that one of the men suffered permanent nerve damage. Throughout their time in the home, the 2 men revealed that they prayed tirelessly. One day, their prayers were answered, and the captor returned home drunk from the bar and stated that he was allegedly going to set the men free. He then loaded them up in his car, drove them 45 minutes away, and shoved them out in the snow, driving away never to be seen again. Number 3. In recent years, The Conjuring has been considered by many as a cult classic, with it being by far one of the most popular paranormal films in the last few decades. Many viewers believe that the film is nothing more than a work of fiction, though it's actually heavily based around a true story, involving a couple named Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed is known to have been a war veteran, as well as an avid researcher of demons and spirits. His wife similarly claims to have been able to contact the deceased, oftentimes communicating with some of the demons that Ed had allegedly discovered. By 1952, Ed and Lorraine had founded a company known as the New England Society for Psychic Research, which is now considered to be one of the oldest surviving paranormal investigation groups in the country. In fact, they were actually the same group of paranormal investigators that were responsible for taking on the case of the Amityville Horror House. While The Conjuring is certainly a dramatization of the true story, it's very much based on real occurrences, with some even claiming that the film is haunted by the spirits of the deceased. Ed Warren has since passed away, though his wife was heavily involved in the making of the film, and claims that she would not allow the filmmakers to create any scenes or scenarios that weren't entirely plausible. Number 2. The 1973 film The Exorcist is by far one of the most popular movies of all time, and certainly the most popular movie involving the paranormal. The movie follows the story of a young girl named Reagan, who becomes possessed by a demon. It's then the job of a Catholic priest to rid the poor girl of her curse before it's too late. Now, this may sound like a great story for a movie, and it definitely was, though it was actually inspired by real events, involving a young boy named Roland Doe. Back in the 1940s, Roland is known to have inherited a Ouija board from a family member who had recently passed away. It's said that immediately after he began to play with the board, strange occurrences began to take place, including scratching sounds from inside the walls and floors, water oozing from walls and pipes, and even his mattress moving around at night with no one around to move it. The family then contacted everyone they knew of and asked for help, and were eventually referred to a Catholic priest, who was insistent that an exorcism needed to be performed on him. Multiple exorcisms were then performed on Roland over the next few months, though all to no avail. He was eventually checked into a hospital for his condition, but still no one was able to help him. Though in April of 1949, Roland made a breakthrough. While priests were performing yet another exorcism, Roland broke his normal streak of screams, gurgling noises, and cursing and simply fell limp, calmly stating he's gone. He then informed the priest that he had a vision of St. Michael who guided a demon out of his body, returning him to normal. After this, no more strange occurrences were documented and the boy lived a normal life. Number 1. In 2008, the horror film The Strangers was released by Rogue Pictures. The film tells the story of a young couple who headed to their family's vacation home planning a nice getaway trip. Though no sooner than they arrive, things begin to go awry, leaving the couple fighting for their lives. After the film's release and moderate success, the writer of the film revealed in an interview that the movie was actually heavily based on a series of break-ins that took place in his childhood neighborhood. Back in 1981, Brian Bertino was quoted as saying, "As a kid, I lived in a house on a street in the middle of nowhere. One night, our parents were out and somebody knocked on the front door and my little sister answered it. At the door were some people asking for somebody who didn't live there. We later found out that these people were simply knocking around doors in the area. If no one was home, they were then breaking into the houses. So if someone comes up to your door late at night, unless you want your life to turn into a horror film, it may be best to just answer." Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.